Think big. Why more and more solar startups start with 1000 megawatt. You can start your solar module production with a line up to 1 gigawatt. This means 1000 megawatt. This is more than 3 million solar modules every year. In this video, my father will explain to you how to start with a very big solar module production line from 300 megawatt up to 1 gigawatt.
Hello again. So this lecture is for people who wants to invest into big, really big productions. And when I say big, Patrick in the front video just told, I mean 1 gigawatt, 600 megawatt. And when we started 20 years ago or 15 years ago with the first turnkey factory, then we saw that the people had the meaning that 10 megawatt is a very big installation. In the meantime, we get a lot of inquiries for 140 megawatt, for 300 megawatt, for 600 megawatt, and the biggest inquiry we ever got was even 1.2 gigawatt. Therefore, we decided to make also a lecture how to plan a 1 gigawatt factory. Why 1 gigawatt production? So 1 gigawatt production means, Patrick already told, 3 million modules a year, and this is a really huge amount of solar modules. But in the meantime, also the power plants are in dimensions of easily 300 megawatt or even more. So then it's clear, when we have to supply power plants with 300 megawatt, we cannot make a production with 10 megawatt, because in that case we need 30 years for making all the solar modules. And therefore the people more and more asked for 300, 600, 1.2 gigawatt. The Arabic, I just make a small notice, yeah. Arabic and Africa region and South America, they ask standard size in this region is between 20 and 50 megawatt. And the customer is asking for a very quick realization. So this means he don't want to wait for 1 year. Maybe you have a 50 megawatt production. Then they say, no, that's too long. They want the modules in 3, 4, maybe in 5 months. But this is standard. Nowadays, we see inquiries even with 300 megawatt. This is not unusual. This means with a 300 megawatt production, you need even there 1 year for delivering all the solar modules. And also in this case, the customer is not willing to wait for 1 year. So this is the reason to increase your factory even to 600 megawatt, or some of our customers even start with 1200 megawatt production capacity. Big production, big solar module production, of course, have a lot of advantages. On the one side, your advantage is you can lower the price. That's clear. The more materials you buy, the better prices you get. The second point is you can be a global player. And some, or let me say most of these big installers, they ask for tier 1 producers. And tier 1 producers, if you are in the area of 1 gigawatt or 1.2 gigawatt, then you have a chance to get tier 1 production, which is also a big advantage for the assurance companies. And it's much easier to get financing for this if you are tier 1 producer. And the third point, this is also very important. Of course, you want to be the market leader in your country or in your region. This was the first point. why we think a big installation is good. These were some arguments, what advantages you get from that big installation. Now let's make a jump into the technical part. So, technical part means the bigger the production is, the more control you have over the process. If you have a 10 megawatt production, then maybe EL testing is too expensive and you are not using it. If you have 1.2 gigawatt production, maybe you have at least 20 EL tester, and EL test is a standard for you. Even when you have 300 megawatt, I think you have EL testing, maybe 10 or 5 or 4 EL tester. You have hotspot detection, yeah? You have visual inspection, not only one time, 5 times. You have vision cameras, which makes an automatic quality process. In summary, for 300, 600 or 1.2 gigawatt, the result is a better quality. Of course, this better quality the customer will feel when he makes the installation of a 320 or 50 megawatt power plant. Then over the next 20 years, he will get a feedback of this higher quality level. And this is one part for big 300, 600 and 1.2 gigawatt production. Now let me go into the technical part and make an explanation about area need, about investment need, about the technical rough design. Another technical advantage of bigger installations of 300, 600 or 1.2 gigawatt is, for example, the stringing area. In a small 10 megawatt production, you have one stringer with 450 cells per hour and you have one operator to serve the machine. In a big installation, you have stringers with a size of 5,500 cells per hour and also one operator. So also your price, which I explained before, goes down, and of course also your quality goes up. The first important part of a production, of a solar module production, is the stringing. The second important part is the layup and the busing. And also, in case you have 300, 600 or 1.2 gigawatt, you can use a robot layup, which makes in the standard version 150 megawatt. You can use a double robot which makes 300 megawatt on the same place, and you can include in this solution a fully automated busing facility. Finally, maybe you need for that 2 per machine, but with a 10 megawatt production, maybe you have 1 with the layup, sometimes 2, and at least 2 people with the busing on both sides. So you see, also in this case, you have lower operators, you have better quality, lower size of area, and of course, finally, a better price for the module which you sell per watt to the customer. What is busing? What is layup? I make a small explanation. Let me say, in case of 10 megawatt, you have maybe 2 people on both sides making the strings and to place the strings on the glass. The second step is, this is layup. The second step is to solder the strings together, and also in this case you need 2 people soldering the points on left and right side of the solar modules. You see, for 10 megawatt you have 4 people. For 10 megawatt, you have 4 people per shift. Now let's have a jump to 300 megawatt. In that case, we need a double robot and another one which makes the layup of the strings onto the solar module, plus an automated soldering, which we call buzzing, which is also done by at least 2 robots. In this configuration, you need one person here and another person here. So you see 2 people per shift with 300 megawatt, and of course you can upgrade it to 600 and to 1.2 gigawatt. But you see the difference. It's 30 times more, but double the people. And this is another big advantage for a very big solar module production. This is layup and buzzing. Now let's see for the laminating. Laminator is normally something to feed in the solar module and to feed out the solar module. In this chamber we make vacuum, we heat up to 150, 160 degrees for about, let me say, 10 minutes. In a 10 megawatt production, it's for 2 modules and you need at least 1 person for that. Now let's see what solution we have with 300 megawatt. With 300 megawatt, we have bigger laminators with pre-laminating and after laminating, and you can use 5 to 6 modules in each version. So totally you have up to 12 modules. And this is a capacity of roughly 120 megawatt. So you need 3 of them, and each of them you need an operator. Again, for 10 megawatt you need 1 worker for the laminator, and for 300 megawatt you need 3 workers. But it's 30 times higher than the basic 10 megawatt. Also in that case, you see, you save money for the people, for the workers, and of course the quality is better, because in bigger machines you can control the vacuum much better, you can make more stable process, you can make better vacuum pumps, so everything will be a little bit better. Now I prepared, you see, something with, on the whiteboard. I will give you now general information about 300 megawatt, 600 megawatt and 1200 megawatt per year, by the way. This means every year you make 300 megawatt solar modules, 600 megawatt solar modules, or 1200 megawatt or 1.2 gigawatt solar modules. I want to give you some rough figures about the invest, about the area need, and a time frame. Invest, area, and a rough time schedule. The invest, let's start with the invest. It's not only for the machines, it's also for 2 months materials, because you buy the materials, then you process and you pay, of course. And in the beginning, you have to make prepayment. Then you make the process, you make the solar modules, then you sell the solar modules. But this total time needs about 2 months, maybe 1 month, maybe 3 months. So our calculation is material need for 2 months. We also include in this figure a new building. which is not necessary. Maybe you can rent. And we also include in this figure, of course, the price for the machinery. So let's start with the 300 megawatt. The roughly invest is about 25 million euro. This is really a spit on the wall. It's not unrealistic, but it could be also 28, it can be 22, because it depends how much are the costs of building in your country. In Germany, if you make a building, it's very high, or in Congo, it's at least much lower than in Germany. You have, of course, costs of the workers, which are Germany, America, Japan, much higher than in the so-called third world. So this 25 million euro is a realistic figure, and this is your total budget. You have to plan to make a 300 megawatt line. For 600 megawatt, our calculation shows roughly 45 million euro. And for 1200 megawatt, we say it's possible to do it for 80 million euro. So now you have some realistic figures for the total invest. The second point is the area. For a 300 megawatt, the production area and all the other buildings like store, like office and discussion room, presentation room is 5,000 square meters. In that case, it's 10,000 square meters. And in this case, it's, let me say it's 18,000 square meters, a little bit lower than double the size, because you have some advantages when you get bigger. Maybe this is also 9,000 square meters. Now let's make a jump to the time schedule for a 300 megawatt line from the order to the first module. I think our experience is it is about 1.5 years. If you make 600 megawatt, you can do it in 2 years. 1200 megawatt, maybe 2.5 years. You see, this is a really big figure and long time where you need capacity for the workers, where you need cash flow, where you need a lot of plannings, and all this, of course, is included in these figures. A final explanation about all these rough figures. 1.5 years, 2 years, 2.5 years, maybe one or the other customer says, oh, that's much too long, I want it faster. Of course, it's possible to make it faster. For example, if you hire someone who makes the complete wrap up for you, who makes the training for the factory, maybe you can reduce it by half a year, maybe even 7 or 8 months. This is possible. But in that case, you need very good experts, and you need well-trained people, and you need a very tough management, which, by the way, we can do. We can give you consultants for that to speed up. But up to now, we made about 55 factories. Our experience is that these are realistic time schedules and that we can reach this kind of figures. Of course, this 25 million or 45 or 80 million euro is not the price for the machinery, by the way. Maybe it's only 30% of that price is the machineries. And you can do much cheaper machines, but in that case, our experience was that the customer needs much more time to install the machines, and sometimes the machines didn't even work. So they lost a lot of money, maybe more than 10 or 15 million euro, or finally went bankrupt because the machineries never worked in good quality. I told you that Some of the factories went bankrupt because of bad machinery. We have German technology, we have best machineries, we have German machinery building, and we can support first-class machines to make this timeline maybe smaller, to make it faster, and to save you a lot of money because of not installed, not running machines. We can deliver the machineries, we can deliver the technology, and we can be your ramp-up partner and your service partner all over the factory. We can be your turnkey supplier. So if you're interested into our service, you can click the button below this video to get in contact with us and to get the first informations. You are heartily welcome, and I'm very happy to start the product, to start the project with you.